Science of healing. The proclamation of redemption. Despite the unrelenting efforts made by the hell-born agents of Satan to keep you blind to who you really are, a seed has sprouted in the West. I drive. Malachi Z. York, I am that seed. I am the warner that has been sent to this confused day and time. I have come to open your eyes and raise you from your spiritual and mental darkness. You have been deprived of your birthright for far too long now. As the Redeemer, I hereby reclaim and redeem you from the slave master and give you back your rightful heritage that the Most High has provided me with, have allowed me to endure the persecution, slander, and humiliation perpetrated against me. Therefore, I drive. Malachi Z. York put forth this call to all you once lost but now found seed, to join me in reclaiming your rightful heritage. Although we have had many profound and great teachers, none has ever stood before the public to be questioned. For over 25 years to date, day in and day out, I have successfully and profoundly answered all questions put to me. I am not merely a religious teacher. I am also a guide, a friend, a father, a doctor, a big brother and a teacher. I am your caliphate. Accept it or not, for there is none more qualified to make straight your way to the Creator. Whether you call yourself a Christian or a Jew, Israelite, Hebrew, Rasta, Muslim, Bilalian, Nation of Islam, Sunni Muslim, Shiite Muslim, Black nationalist, African, Puerto Rican, whatever name you have picked up or carry or attribute to your beliefs, you are of the pure seed. As your Redeemer, I was raised up amongst you to show you the only true way of life. I am the first begotten of those who were mentally dead, the resurrection, the light, the truth. Don't be deceived, don't be tricked, don't be fooled. I am a rare occurrence. There has not been another to be inspired by the masters and prophets of before to guide his pen in such a consistent and unending flow of undisputable truth. I have watched many false teachers pass. I have watched churches, masajid, and synagogues open and close, yet, I stand ever ready and qualified to defend the words of all the holy scriptures and tablets. I am an accountant who has come not to change the books but to untangle and straighten and put them in an order that can be read and overstood by any and all. If you overstand and agree with the statement, "You judge the tree by the fruit it bears," you will find that if you shake the tree of my works, all that will fall is success. No one in the heavens above or below the earth or on the earth has the ability to make all of the true, untampered scriptures, which are the words of the Most High, so clear. For I do not speak from myself, but the words flow through me from the very lips and hearts of those mentioned in the pamphlets I put forth. Read the scrolls. Don't reject me, don't deny me, don't slander me. I am your Savior. Come and follow me. The hourglass is almost empty. The time of reaping is near. We are the 144,000. The Holy Tabernacle Ministry's mission is the new Zion that has come down out of heaven to redeem the lost souls, to replace the savor that was removed from the salt. I am your warner, and to every people the Most High has sent a warner. So I call all my brothers and sisters, come sip with me. I plead to the people to reconsider their acceptance, come follow me, for the covenant is complete in me. You have asked and he has given you me. You have sought and you have found me. You knocked and I have opened the door for you. Don't shut the door and close yourself off from your only means of salvation. Now that I have been sent to redeem you, don't reject me, the way you rejected those sent before me. Come home, you lost souls, come and follow me, for I know the way. Introduction. You have heard me say repeatedly over a span of 30 years on video and audio tapes entitled True Light Tapes, and you have heard me say in my khutbahs, sermons, and you have read in many of my pamphlets of peace, Isaiah 52:1, that the hourglass is almost empty and that your time is running out. I have been teaching for 30 years that the devil's reign will be up in the year 2000 AD, which is equal to 6,000 years. and as of June 6, 1996 AD, marked the end of his reign. As you can see, the entire world is in an uproar, need I say. The world is going crazy, people are losing their minds more and more every day. This is no coincidence. Now that there are earthquakes, pestilence, famines, and death like never before, Matthew 24:6-7, people are becoming scared and don't want to face the fact that the end that they've been teaching, preaching and hearing about for all of these years is finally here. But nobody wants to believe it. You didn't have faith when I was teaching you about the devil's reign and the New World Order 30 years ago, and now the time is getting nearer to the end and now you are saying that you are ready. With the official establishment of the Nubian Islamic Hebrews, Ansar Allah community now known as the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, in the year 1970 AD, we had 30 years to work and build. We had 30 years to raise the 144,000 which I referred to as Al-Muklaysina, JDJJG, the purified ones, Quran 1539-40. In 1970 AD. We also had time. However, you were playing around. You thought, 30 years, oh we have enough time. I told you over and over that time is going to sneak up on you, so let's get the job done now. Refer to Leviathan 666 The Spell of King, scroll number 15. Now here we are on a 3-year countdown until the year 2000 AD. And this is no time to play. You are going to need this information and strength that is in this scroll. I felt it more than necessary in these days and times to revise this scroll. You are going to have to know how to heal yourself, not only to help you reach a spiritual level, also because you will not be able to go to hospitals. Not because they won't accept you, the problem is you won't trust them. People are being injected with microchips and given tainted blood intentionally. You go into the hospital with a little chest cold and come out with AIDS. I personally haven't been to a hospital for any illness. Why? Because I take care of my mind and body. I tried to teach you the same principles on diet and health years ago, however, you rejected that just as you did whenever one tried to tell you something that was beneficial to you. However, in order to avoid these problems and not have to keep running to these centers of hospitality called hospitals, you initially have to take care of yourself properly by not filling yourself with poisons, and when you do have an ailment, you will know how to heal yourself, and that is what this scroll will teach you. And you have to be prepared mentally and physically. Thus, you will be raised to another level, refer to the year 2000 AD. And what to expect. Scroll number 156. Before I go into the science of healing, I must first inform you of a being that possesses this great healing force called the green light, the great healing force which operates under the direction of the subconscious mind, is available to everyone. It is the life force which, if properly directed, could keep perfect every physical form, which could heal everything. It is the green light directed by Murdoch, ruler of Malakut. The secret is to understand how to direct his life force to release tension within, and to stimulate its vibration to bring all the cells of your physical form into harmony, one with other. Murdoch releases this same healing force within El-Qutb, the center of the sons of the green light. Through mind power focuses with full intensity, upon the inner world and upon the acceleration and direction of the inner forces. Also employ the use of prayer and meditation, visualization of the presence of the green light, affirmation of the power of its presence, and stimulating, through focalizing thought force, the tremendous life energy within and surrounding the physical form. Through this focalized mind power, the green light forces act like a magnet stimulated within. It begins immediately to attract from the swirling sea of ethers around us, the sweeping current of green light which is awaiting to be drawn into any reservoir of life force. Thus stimulated, the physical form becomes an electromagnetic force field surging with increased power and drawing more and more potent currents into itself from the surrounding ethers. Every molecule, every atom which builds up the cells of the physical body, is built around a minute center of light, which is the spiritual force. It is this infinite small light dot, divine in aspect, life of light from Anu, Elion El, the Most High, the highest, which is the secret power that holds together the atom and the molecule. It is the center of the molecular solar system. The atom is nothing more than a tiny solar system charged with electric and magnetic power. If the atmosphere around you is completely charged with positive vitality, and the currents of life force is of joy and happiness, it is from the Anunnaki seraphim. Zakar, son of the Anunnaki, our physical form automatically will take enough of it to supply a perpetual flow so that he would never experience illness. Murdoch, son of Damkina and Enki, is also known as Melchizedek, the angel Michael, Al-Qadr, Malachi Zadok, and his galactical name is Yanan. Melchizedek and Al-Qadr, the Green One, is one and the same. Melchizedek is also called Malki-Siotic, JJLCLL. In the Arabic language, it means angel of justice. His abode is on the fourth plane, which symbolizes his purpose as a medium between Anu, Elion El, the Most High, the highest, and human. Melchizedek is in tune with the fourth plane or the mental plane. This is the plane where man and mind meet. The revelations are given to man from the fourth plane. What makes Melchizedek able to communicate with the higher forces is the angelic forces in him that are double that of a normal man, which is 360 degrees of will, 180 degrees agreeable and 180 degrees disagreeable. 720-degree Melchizedek. 360-degree man. 180-degree angelic beings. The mental plane is a plane that is symbolic of the principle, as above, so below. Melchizedek was the ruler of the Anunnaki, Elohim. He was in charge of the high order of Zadok, a special group of elders who were to bring about a group of humans and teach them, once again, the path of righteousness, thereby keeping mankind from total destruction. Case, why does Melchizedek have double angelic forces than a normal man? Ans, when Murdoch, son of Enki and Damkina, also known as Melchizedek, was born, his people were very proud, for he was very powerful. He was powerful from birth. Melchizedek was taught by Ami, his grandfather, father of Enki. Ami, who is Elion El, made Melchizedek so perfect that his Anunnakiship was twofold, for he had 720 degrees of knowledge or will, meaning 360 degrees of agreeable and 360 degrees of disagreeable, 720 degrees, within his nature. When all of the other Anunnaki had 180 degrees, 180 degrees, of either agreeable or disagreeable knowledge in their nature. Far above the other Anunnaki, Melchizedek was superior in every way. Refer to the Holy Tablets, chapter 4, tablet 1, verses 82 to 103. Will. When you, humans, were created, you were given 360 degrees of knowledge or will. You were created spiritually on the fourth plane, the mental plane, which is above the spiritual plane. You had direct contact with the angelic beings, Melchizedek, and the Most High, Elion El. You had 360 degrees of knowledge, 180 degrees agreeable and 180 degrees disagreeable, and you acquired will. Case, what is will? Ans, the word for will in Syriac, Arabic, is mashia, ui, which comes from the root word sha'aa, li, or yasha'a, ltj, and means, by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course of action, an instance of the exercising of this faculty, a deliberate decision or conclusion, choice. Will is that which was given to Adam by Anu, Elion El, the Most High. Will was that which made Adam more knowledgeable than the angelic beings and the Luciferians. In other words, will is, to do what one chooses, to have one's way, to see fit to one's own thinking. Case, is will agreeable or disagreeable, or agreeable and disagreeable? Ans, will is not agreeable or disagreeable. it is undecided, an abstraction, until someone or something exercises one or the other of the opposing forces, agreeable or disagreeable. Anu Elion El, the Most High created will. He created the force that divides into two natures, 180 degrees of negative, disagreeable, that is the nature of the Luciferians or cherubims, and 180 degrees of positive, agreeable, that is the nature of the seraphims. Human have labeled the parts as agreeable, good, or disagreeable, evil. The nature of the good Anunnaki Elohim, the angelic beings, was from the light, and the nature of the Luciferians was from smokeless fire, an imperfection representing emotions where anger is aroused. So, in your mind or spirit, when you are making a decision, you fight a battle of agreeable and disagreeable. A war rages inside you as you fight within your soul to make a choice. That 180 degrees of positive and 180 degrees of negative struggle within you as two warriors evenly matched, grappling to overcome one another. When mankind was bombed, the Anunnaki, Elohim breathed the breath of life into his body and he became a living soul, referred to Genesis 2:7. Likewise, they were born with a spirit and their third eye open. Human's ideal state is when his mental, seventh plane, and the plane in which the good angelic beings were created, fourth plane, are in tune. Thus, the five senses are attributed to him, they are physical senses. Soul is which emits emotions of grief, sorrow, fear, greed, jealousy, happiness, hate, love, etc. The soul is what exhibits personality, which is the character of an individual. This is what makes man different from mankind. Mankind has no soul, he only has the spirit of the evil one. His nature is negativeness, even when he sets out to supposedly do an agreeable act, the end result is evil, disagreeableness. Melchizedek reigned over the kingdom of Salam. The kingdom of Salam was an ultra-advanced civilization that existed before the separation of Arabia from Africa. The parting of Africa did not come until the mortals, descendants of Seth and Labuda, rained down on the mountains. They sought to destroy the inhabitants for fear of their scientific experiments. These mortals did not understand the light that these scientists used, that which came from the sun, that shined on a certain point of a stone, that was cut by no man's hand, that broke down the lights of the sun into 7 different colors, which filtered out the right ray of light to cut metal and mountains. The scientists today call this the laser. This process by which these great scientists cut these stones was the science of the building of the pyramids. Structures of this type were built at various times in different parts of the world, such as Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, Western Asia, Pakistan, Greece, Cyprus, Italy, Thailand, Mexico, and India. Pyramids are also located on some islands of the Pacific Ocean. They were purposely located on these specific sites around the globe for the importance of keeping them in tune with the balance of the universe. They were built so that, every so often, various stars appear that shine directly down into them. The name pyramid as given to these great structures in Egypt was a symbolic name, because the word is really Greek and not Egyptian. In the Greek language the word pyra means fire, or light, or illumination that reveals something or make things visible in darkness. Midos means measures. The Greeks had derived these words from the Phoenician word pyramiddo, which meant light measures. Therefore, the pyramids themselves mean something that constitute measured revelations or revelations through measurements. It is important to make note that the land of our ancestors, the Nubians, is the origin of all the sciences, mathematics, the sciences of mysteries, etc. This is where geometry, algebra, trigonometry, and the higher form of mathematics, stemmed from. Our ancestors calculated the area of these structures down to the square inch. These underground chambers contain libraries on all of the knowledge of the universes pertaining to what has happened, what is happening, and what is about to happen. They contain the Book of the Dead, and all the scriptures of the prophets, Lost and Found. These books compiled, make up what is known as the archaic records. Here, in the bowels of the earth, lies the nucleus of the pyramid. It is built from the inside out. The Elders. The 23 elders are beings that came down from heaven to give humans knowledge, wisdom, and an overstanding. They were high priest after the order of Melchizedek. They initiated the math and sciences. The theory of relativity was initiated by the elders. To give humans the necessary knowledge, the 23 elders established mystery schools. These schools were housed in the pyramids and certain temples designed and built by them in different parts of the world. These elders were responsible for keeping the universe in order. They, therefore, constructed spacecrafts, or flying saucers and UFOs, as a means of transportation. This was the vehicle that Ezekiel saw. Ezekiel 1:16. Zoser son of Cassicamuwi and Nemuathafi was the first pharaoh to succeed Menes, the first pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Zoser, the name given to him at birth meaning the holy, was a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Zoser, son of Cassicamuwi and Nemuathafi, was also one of the 24 elders, men of renown, and because he was a high priest, he received his power and knowledge from Alkidr, the Green One. He ruled during the beginning of ancient Egypt's years as an empire and moved the capital from the Nis to Memphis. Zoser was the possessor of many names. In different cultures he was known as 1. Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes the thrice great. 2. Thoth. 3. Mercury. 4. Quetzalcoatl. Feathered serpent. 5. Rapanui. 6. Nabu. 7. Abdul Qujuz. 8. Kail. Zoser was also the author of works on alchemy, the act of transforming base metals into gold. These are called Hermetic sciences, which is where Pythagoras stole mathematical formulas that he attributed to himself, i.e., Pythagorean theorem. He initiated the use of levitation, the sleeping serpent, the process that the elders used to move stones in the construction of the pyramids. He also initiated the use of the laser, a device used for cutting stone. Imhotep the Elder. Imhotep the son of Ta-Enkertuank, under the guidance of Zoser, acquired the knowledge needed to calculate the precise dimensions for the construction of the first pyramid, the step pyramid. All of these technological advancements provided the future pharaohs with the first great builders in our history. The only building project to ever come near their achievement prior to this time period is the edifice or Tower of Babel built by Nimrod, ruler of Babylon. Refer to Son of Canaan Revised Scroll number 47. Imhotep, whose angelic name is Yophiel, was the first official in Zoser's court. It was through Zoser that Imhotep made visible to the world the knowledge and power that you possessed as an ancient people. Imhotep was a man of remarkable talents. He built the step pyramid at Saqqara. This pyramid was built by superimposing one mastaba on top of another, each one being smaller than the last, until there was a total of 6. Upon completion, it resembled a pyramid with large steps. Mastaba is an Egyptian Arabic word meaning bench. Made of brick, mastabas served as tombs before the idea of pyramids became a reality. The original mastaba can be seen at the bottom of the structure. It was succeeded by a 4-step pyramid, which was in turn succeeded by the final 6-step construction. According to the Freemasonry doctrine, the Temple of Solomon was constructed without human hands, with neither hammer, axe, or any iron tool. The stone was squared and polished by a worm called Samus. The stone is also called a shirma or shamir. However, the mastabas at Saqqara that Imhotep built was 210 feet long on each side and approximately 25 feet high. Then, Imhotep extended the mastaba on all sides until its base was about 400 feet by 350 feet. He then placed smaller mastabas on top of it until he had 6 mastabas of decreasing size, reaching a total of 200 feet. The Step Pyramid is one of the oldest man-made buildings of its kind to exist. During the reign of Zoser, hieroglyphics had been perfected. It was used to express the lifestyle of the people of the time. Hieroglyphics is not a spoken language, it is simply a picture story. Many so-called historians who claim to know the history of ancient Egypt, say that hieroglyphics is a spoken language. This is not true. How could anyone speak in pictures? Hieroglyphics is the means by which you of the present know something of your Nubian past. The use of papyrus was also introduced into Egyptian culture by Zoser. Papyrus is a Greek word for the paper that was used by the ancient Egyptians. Papyrus reed grew along the banks of the Nile. The pith was extracted and glued together in separate layers, soaked and then dried. The result was a long-lasting surface on which they wrote with brushes or pens that were made of other types of reeds. The use of papyrus was later incorporated into the Greek and Roman civilization until it was no longer economical to use. Egypt is the birthplace of hidden wisdom and mystic teachings of the elders. This is why it was not until 2,000 years later when the pyramids, obelisks, sphinxes, and advanced cities were built and all the knowledge was locked in the pyramids that ancient Greece and Rome invaded Egypt and stole the schools of thought from the pyramids. Pythagoras was the first Greek philosopher to invade Egypt during the 6th century BC. He spent 25 years trying to study the Egyptian sciences so that he could become more knowledgeable and in the end go back to Greece and claim himself as the founder of math and science. This is how the Pythagoras theorem came about. There were other philosophers and so-called scholars who were from Greece and Rome who came to Egypt and stole the knowledge in which the elders came to pass on to you. The wisdom that the elders taught were divided into 2 classifications, a. That which was given to the entire world for guidance, such as parables and the likes, which were called the lesser mysteries. b. That which was given to a select few, such as the mysteries of Al-Haqq, the truth which were called the greater mysteries. The 24 elders established mystery schools to teach this knowledge. These schools were in pyramids and certain temples, found in the places I just mentioned a little earlier. The 24 elders took a few advanced souls to whom they revealed the inner teachings of the scriptures, and the universe. Take for instance, the science of the circle and square, the science of creation, and the science of life. The mysteries of life have always been divided in order to meet the needs of the world. In essence, these select few were taught the great laws of nature and about Anu, Elion El, the Most High. We shall discuss the greater mysteries. In the mystery schools, the selected ones would enter as 1. A teacher of good, he became. 2. A good man, and he emerged. 3. A disciple, and one who is of peace. We are all striving for perfection, we are not perfected yet. The first step necessary to restore perfection on the body is to instill complete faith in Anu, El Elo most glorified and exalted. You must go through these schools of learning. If you have not started yet, you have a long way to go. The way that the disciple travels is called the journey of life. He as a traveler walking that path is called the walker. Through his teachings, the selected one is called disciple, and his teacher is called sheikh, Ji, elder, or a murshidun, ing, meaning a teacher of the right way. Having been taught the laws of life, the disciple is expected to follow the teachings until he reaches the ultimate test, after which he becomes an upright man, perfect, a master. As was said, all the prophets and some of their disciples were taught the mysteries: Enoch, Abraham, Ishmael, Noah, Isaac, David, Solomon, Moses, Job, Elijah, John, Al-Mahdi, Jesus, Daniel, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, etc. in selecting the advanced souls who were prepared to receive the inner teachings. Many rigid tests needed to be passed before the door to wisdom opened, and so it is still today. Within the mystery schools there was a guardian at the gate of the inner temple. No one could pass by him to enter the temple to the inner knowledge unless he could give a certain sign, a secret word, and a certain grip only known by certain brothers who are in ignorance, as well as the intellect. Only the disciples who were worthy would know, having remembered these secrets from teachings given by the sheikh while the disciple was in a trance, for his consciousness would have been spiritually unfolded. In trance many truths were revealed. If the disciple did not remember, then he was not yet ready, and he was turned away from the greater mysteries. Asterisk. Each disciple was taken separately into the mystery school into the inner temples. He was left alone and his initiation was definite and divine. When the disciple passed all of his tests, he came out bearing a new name and a new overstanding. He was purged of corruption and emerged powerful. He, the disciple, overstood the existence of the Most High. He, the disciple, overstood the law of reward and punishment under the parable of the pen that serves you well. The parable is as follows. You have a pen in your suit pocket throughout the day. The pen serves you well. When you arrive home you take the pen out of your pocket and put it on the dressing table and thank the pen. Another day comes, and you put on your brand new white suit. You place the same pen in your pocket and it leaks, causing a big stain. When you take it out of your pocket, do you curse the pen? You should say Masha Allah, what Allah wills. Faith in detail. I have faith in An, as he is, and in his heavenly host, the angelic beings, and in all of his pure scriptures, and all of those sent from him, and in the last day and in fate, good and wicked are his. It is from Anu the Most High and the rising after death. In accepting the law of reward and punishment, your third eye is opened, which I will explain on in this scroll. The disciple also overstood well the laws of nature and how to use them in his life, both constructively and destructively. For example, the law of gravitation, every body attracts every other body with a force that is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. What goes up, must come down. Humans are surrounded by a force field of negative and positive charges. It is called his auric egg, halat. Human's halat contains his spirit, soul, and physical form. The halat may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body, because it reflects the real vital body, mental mood, health, and character. The halat has different layers or moods or reflection that are reflected in color, which may appear cloud-like or bright and clear according to the mood it is reflecting. The purer the person, the more illuminated his or her halat will be. Everyone is not able to see the halat, only those who are highly spiritual. The reflection of color rarely stays the same, for the halat reflects the most intricate moods of the person, totally dominate or cloud out a majority of the other moods reflected. In this case, we would know if the person in subject is being acted upon by a particular mood of his halat makeup. The basic, primary, colors of the halat are, 1. Red, 2. Blue, 3. Yellow. From these three colors, the secondary colors are formed, green, orange, purple, indigo, and violet. Diagram 9. The primary colors. The meaning of the colors. Red is a color that projects or encourages desire and evil. It is taken to represent evil. This color depicts anger, sin, and bloodshed. Blue reflects a highly spiritual mood and the virtuous qualities of man, such as devotion, faith, and piety. Various levels of this mood are reflected in different shades and tints of blue. The mood of this color is highly spiritual. Yellow is the color that reflects intellect, or a total state of consciousness. Yellow about the halat or within it shows intellect in the person. The brighter the hue, the purer the stream of mentality showing greater intellect. Whenever the color is dull or dingy, the thoughts and moods of the person is either slow or out of tune with the mental plane. Yellow encourages reason, judgment, analysis, or the use of logical mental activity. Green, dealing with light, is a most divine mood. Green is a combination of the moods that blue and yellow reflect, which is reflected from the heavens of the mental plane. Green, like white, is a healing force, except the green light is much more powerful and a more purified force. It is controlled and directed to humans by Al-Qadr, the Green One, who is the supreme angelic guardian over the earth, physical plane. Black is not a color, but a supreme state of mind. Black is supreme balance. Black is the total absence of moods and colors. It is the absence of all imbalancement. White is a state of purity of mind and soul. White does not project a mood, but a force. White reflects one of the healing forces. There is never a white aura, halat. The white light, or force, is projected from angelic beings, who are placed as guardians over men. The color white invokes these angelic guardians. Gray is a negative color, projecting a totally negative mood. It is a force combination of black and white. Because they are two complete and individual states, neither lacking, they remain in constant battle. Persons with the color gray in their aura are compelled toward depression, pessimism, and malice. Brown is another negative color, whether it be a light shade or a deep murky brown. It projects a mood of greed and desire for material gain. This is because brown is a combination of green and red. The red in brown will dominate the green that is already a combination of two colors, blue and yellow. When one sights the halat, it will appear like a kaleidoscope. The highest and lowest forms that have been able to be detected are those of vibrations. Everything vibrates, which manifests itself in different moods and schemes. The expressions of vibration is called a mood. Each mood acts and reacts continually, carrying out life processes. These moods make up what is known as planes. Planes are moods and schemes of vibration existing in very unique and unified forms. There are 7 planes. The lowest and slowest is the material plane, while the fastest and highest that humans are able to comprehend is the bosom of Ami, Elion El, the Most High. The 7 heavens, planes. 1. The material plane. 2. The plane of force. 3. The spiritual plane. 4. The mental plane. 5. The plane of divine truth. 6. The plane of divine reality. 7. Bosom of Anu. Planes are distinct and intricate moods of vibrations woven into one another so uniquely that one cannot determine where one begins and the other ends. In other words, they have no spatial distinctions of degree. A single point of space may have many manifestations on all of the 11 planes of being. Every sense that humans have vibrates. The 5 senses are hearing, sight, taste, smell and touch. What many have been taught to be 5 senses are in reality really 3, which are see, hear, and touch. Taste is a sense of touch, matters touches the taste buds, and smell is a sense of touch, particles touch nerves that react to smell. Hearing is also touch, sound waves touch the eardrum and cause it to vibrate. However, it is counted as a separate sense. Then there are the other senses which are not sufficiently developed in the average human. They are called ESP or extrasensory perception, intuition, telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance. The higher senses. The quick perception of truth by the mind without the intervention of any process of thought. Mental communication, the transference of thought from one being to another without the use of words or wires. Object reading, the ability to identify or tell something about an object by picking up thought waves implanted by someone previously associated with the article. Clear sight, to see into the other dimensions. Second sight, an awareness of distinct objects and events. The light was the spirit of Anu, that part of Anu that is in every human. This very special portion of Anu is what the darkness, the body of a human, did not overstand, for it was of another world. Their body was physical and the light was spiritual too. Strangers. The light is the spiritual spinal column that links the chakras that shineth in the darkness. Reconfirmation of the fact that within every human on this earth, you will find a part is not hidden. It is just unrecognizable and thereby uncultured. But, it is there. It is the truth in the sense that although it appeared to be of foreign nature, its potent was good and compatible for human. Going further, you have the spirit, which is a reflection of what the soul contains. Soul, spiritual. This is the indefinite side. The state where the 99 sub-degrees of Anu exist without the definite article al, j. The spiritual state exists within the bosom of Anu and is where the school of patience exists. This is the state that is not visible to the physical eye, the lighter side. Humans can only experience the spiritual state. In the spiritual state humans' aura appears. The aura may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body. Body, physical. This is the definite side. The state where the 99 attributes of Anu exists with the definite article al, to correspond with the 99 elements of the periodical chart. Starting with H, hydrogen, the first and the key to any kind of matter. The plane of force and the material plane work together in perfect harmony. If this were not true, then the cycles of nature would not be completed so perfectly and faithfully each year. The plane of force is largely composed of etheric duplicates of objects on the physical plane. Etheric refers to the spiritual part of you. As above, so below. However, beyond this realm of etheric duplicates is a vast reservoir of forces that very few have knowledge of. These forces control the forces that result in what you know to be nature. These higher forces can also be held accountable for the many so-called wonders and supernatural phenomena of the material plane. The plane of forces, also called the energy plane, consists of ordinary forms of energy like heat, light, attraction, electricity, etc., as well as those forms of energy that are finer that gives humans and nature vitality and the ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force that sets life on the physical into motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction is called nafs. Also known as prana, nafs literally means spirit. Nafs, the spark of life. A metaphysical system in which reality is concerned as a unified whole. All things come from and are one with the Creator. The spark of life that comes from Him is nafs. Therefore, Anu, the Most High, left the essence of His being in every atom of His creation. With it He harmonized the entire life processes of man and nature because nafs is constant rhythmic pulsation. In nature, we call this harmonization seasons. The plane of force is perfectly woven into all matter on the material plane. On the plane of force matter is not solid, liquid or gas as you overstand it to be on the material plane, but much more refined because it is vibrating at a much higher speed. The basis or mother of matter is nature, and nature is a result of the plane of force. On the plane of force, there is no distance, temperature, seasons, day, night, or time. All of these are results of the plane of force and made manifest in the physical plane. On the plane of force, one is not subject to gravitation, or at least not the same degrees of gravitation. Gravitation, as well as the rest of the forces that control Earth, are on a highly refined basis on the plane of force. By breaking the law of gravitation on the physical plane, one can raise himself in height. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies, which increases the vibration of the seats, chakras, and radiates the aura to revolve at a certain speed. The seat is a facility that Anu, Elion, the Most High has bestowed upon human senses, to keep humans in tune with the spiritual world. The spiritual can be visited without death, if one masters the desires of the physical plane. In Quran 46:26, reference is made to the facilities that enable human to keep in tune with the spiritual: ears, hearing, eyes, seeing, and heart, feeling. This is not the physical eye, ear, or heart that are visible to human, but that which aids human in his spiritual senses. And, Lakad, indeed, Makgannahum, we established them, Pmaa, in that which, in that, Makgannakum, we established you all, Fihi, in it, and, Jalna, we made, Lahum, for them, Samaan, hearing, and, Absaraan, sight, and, Afeda, inner hearts, Fama for, so not, Akna, will benefit, Anam, them, from them, Samuhum, their hearing, and, Laa, not, Absaruhum, their sight, and, Laa, not, nor, Afeda to hum, their inner heart, min, from, Shay'in. Anything, is, when, Kanu, they were, Yajhatuna, they ignoring, Baayatai, with the signs of, Allahi, the source, and, Haka, surrounded, Bihim, them, Ma, that which, Kanu, they were, Bihi, by Way of it, Yastazion, they ridicule, mock. And surely we, Anunnaki Makannahum established them, the pale Enosites of the valley of Akaf, the sandy plains in the land more firmly than you, the Enosites of Muhammad, and we made for them Sam inner hearing and Aafidatan inner seeing, and inner hearts, but none of their Samuhum inner hearing, and none of their Absar inner sight, and none of their Aafidat inner hearts proved to be of any benefit to them, since they ignored the signs of the source, Allah, given by the news-bearer of the tribe of Ad, called Hudwd/Eber. And they were encircled by that which they used to mock at. Right translation in Ashuric/Syriac, Arabic, by Drive. Malachi York. Mistranslation by Abdullah Yusuf Ali 1938 AD. And we had firmly established them in a, proster one tie power which we have not given to you, Yekoresh. And we had endowed them with, faculties of, hearing, seeing, heart and intellect, but of no profit to them were their, faculties of, hearing, sight, and heart and intellect, when they went on rejecting the signs of Allah, and they were, completely, encircled by that which they used to mock at. The spiritual senses represent a secondary set of senses corresponding to the senses of the physical plane. In other words, the earthly senses of hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting have spiritual counterparts by which the body receives impressions. 7 seats or chakras of the human body and description. 1. Root or basic seat, located at the base of the spine. It superimposes the prostrate area in the male and the uterus in the female. 2. Spleen or splenic seat, located over the spleen. It superimposes the navel and extends to embed some of its roots in the spleen. 3. Navel or umbilical seat, located at the navel over the solar plexus. It superimposes the solar plexus area and the great lobe of the liver. 4. Heart or cardiac seat, located over the heart. It superimposes the thymus gland between the shoulder blades and the right auricle or pulse point of the heart. 5. Throat or laryngeal seat, located at the front of the throat. It superimposes the thyroid gland in the throat and extends to embrace the medulla oblongata. 6. Brow or frontal seat, located in the space between the eyebrows. It superimposes the pituitary gland. 7. Crown or coronal seat, located on the top of the head. It superimposes the pineal gland. It radiates outward to cover the entire head. The spiritual body and senses are attached to our physical form by a very thin cobweb-like etheric cord, which is the shelf of the soul, houses it on the spiritual plane. The spiritual body may continue to lie for an extended amount of years depending upon the spiritual status of the individual. However, we do not keep the spiritual body after we have elevated from the physical plane. One may ascend the spiritual without death of the physical body, or without breaking the ethereal cord. In this case, the cord is then expanded, like a rubber tube, allowing the spirit to carry the soul through it as a passageway or tunnel. Now the 7 planes are in tune with the 7 senses, which are in tune with the spiritual spinal column, through which Anu's light travels, which is in tune with the sympathetic nervous system, which is in tune with the electromagnetic force field that surrounds the body called aura. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies to radiate your aura. Humans are the only one who can open their higher senses, the third eye, the use of his sixth sense, ESP extrasensory perception. If humans physical and mental are in tune, he will be able to exercise his third eye, overstanding of truth, his spiritual body, and will eventually reach the plane of ultimate will, that of performing good. The first step necessary to restore perfection to the body is to instill complete faith that there does exist a vast reservoir of spiritual and life forces awaiting only humans' mental acceptance of them. The first act, the act of having faith, is within itself a gigantic step forward, for because of humans' follies and infatuation with earth and low moral concept, the negative mental force field, overpowering the positive mental force field, has so crystallized around humans' physical form that it is indeed difficult to destroy the power it exerts. This mental force field has built a wall, an invisible wall, almost impenetrable wall, which prevents the inflow of the positive spiritual energies. Remember, Nubians are open to the spiritual forces. They are available to he whose mental force field can be prepared to be open to make it possible for him to enter and revitalize the physical form with new life. For aim, Elion L. Breathed into the body of man, the physical, the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Body plus spirit equals a living soul. This can be found in Genesis 2:7. Genesis 2:7. W.A.N. Yahuwah of H.A., the, Elohim Yasar, shaped, Adawm, those of the ground, Adamites earthlings, from the Afawr, clotted blood, of the Adamah, those of the ground, Adamites earthlings, W.A.N. Na-Fakh, breathed, into his A.F., nostrils, the Neshama, breath, of Kayem, divine life, W.A.N. Ha, the, Adawm, those of the ground, Adamites earthlings, yet he, became, Akaye, living, Neh Fesh, spirit. And Yahuwah of the Elohim shaped Kadmon Adam from Ninti's clot of granulated blood from the people of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of divine life, and the Adam, Kadmon, became, was born, a living spirit. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by drive. Malachi, York. Mistranslation for King James 1611. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. By raising the light and pulling the energies, only by the disciple who has been through the schools of the trained disciplined consciousness, the energies are subject to control. In any instance, the energies are spiritually invoked, the light in each seat increases in strength and power, illuminating, radiating, and expanding in increased force. Everything is still, and quiet. The eyes are made single. You make a buzzing sound as if a hum, alla alla you. Tune all lights in. You make the buzzing sound come from the outside of the body to the inside of the body until you hear and feel the whole body vibrate on it. Concentration is on TB green light, the source of the energy. To make one's eye single, one, is to temporarily suspend the sight from the two physical eyes and look inward. The eye is the third eye. The eye of extrasensory perception, ESP. In the illustration on the previous page I have attempted to show you the actual three-dimensional structure and complexity of the body's force field. This diagram is derived from scientific findings using newly developed and highly sensitive instruments. To best understand the illustration, imagine that your body is like a pebble dropped into a pond, creating whirlpools on the surface of the water and radiating outward from you in an even greater circle. We have shown this effect on our imaginary surface represented by broken lines. Now examine these waves closely and you will notice that their touching points are represented by dots or nodes. Now imagine yourself in a sea of ethers rather than water flowing in and around you. Imagine the dots and their waves completely surrounding you from head to toe, constantly changing and interacting with each other with the speed of thought. Colors constantly change, radiating, rising, and expanding. Those within the mystery schools pledged their very life to keep the secrets. Why? Because the disciple of the greater mysteries had at his command an immense knowledge of the vital forces of nature and using it properly, could gain power to either destroy or construct. Thus, was it necessary that extreme caution be exerted. Some sites of the mystery schools. 1. Egypt. 2. Tibet. 3. Persia. 4. India. 5. Mu. 6. Greece. 7. Mexico. 8. Easter Island. 9. Thailand. 10. Sudan. 11. Ethiopia. 12. Italy. 13. Western Asia. Pakistan. In each of these places the culture of the people reflected knowledge of spiritual beings or deities who possessed powers that far surpassed the comprehension of mortals. Legends about these super beings passed down from generation to generation. Each of these cultures had legends. Easter Island is one of the most well-known of the sites where the elders have established their schools. This island is located in the South Pacific Ocean and got its name from a Dutch explorer who landed there on Easter Sunday and named it Easter Island. The people living there now are not the people who originally lived there. These people are the descendants of people who migrated from other South Sea islands. They in turn migrated from the Orient, East. To guard the schools against the curiosity of the Icelanders, the elders carved hundreds of great statues that stood in certain spots. From a distance, and to an ignorant mind, they seemed monstrous. Their heads were gigantic with a frightening facial expression and distorted physical features. Still, the Icelanders witnessed many of the elders' activities around which they built legends. One of these legends is that of the Rapa Nui. Rapa Nui means birdman and is the name given by the Icelanders to Zoser, who is represented by Thoth in Egypt and on Easter Island as man. The language of the ancient people cannot be deciphered. It is written on tablets of stone that were held by the priests' great libraries. The language recorded on these tablets is similar to the languages found on tablets from the Indus Valley. The meaning of the name of Easter Island as translated into English as eyes looking up to heaven. In the legends of the elders, there is a story about a small island that lies just a short distance from Easter Island. On this island lives a certain bird. At the beginning of the spring the priests, who were very tall men, went to live on the shore of Easter Island in cave dwellings constructed of rocks. the representatives of the priests raced out to the island where the bird nests. Whichever of the priests received the egg that was first laid was the birdman for the coming year. This meant great power for the birdman and his tribe. The Icelanders created pantheons to worship the Rapa Nui, the creator deity called Maki Maki, and the other deities. Just as they rained down on Mu, the inhabitants of Easter Island, out of fear and ignorance, rained down on the elders. They knocked down statues, and destroyed altars and temples. Many statues remain in the quarry unfinished. The longest is 22 meters long and weighs 400 tons. In India, as well, they are waiting on the elders. There is a poem called Mahabharata that consists of 80,000 verses. This poem is thousands of years old and speaks of deities coming to earth. The narrator speaks of seeing a vehicle powered by mercury and wind currents. He witnessed a blast off and a gigantic beam of light. These are just some of the places where you can hear tales of gods that walk the earth. Many people today do not understand these figures. These are none other than symbols of different landing stations, or geographical areas that the elders used to land. They are used to let other visitors know where they are and what established school of light they are from. Today man uses gauges of longitude and latitude, and a control tower to tell him where he is at. The elders used symbols, much like the crop circles that you see all over the world today. The crop circle served the same purpose as did the landing stations of the elders. It is important to make note that there are other galaxies, a large system of stars held together by centrifugal and centripetal forces, or mutual gravitation, in the universe besides yours. Refer to Man from Planet Rizq scroll number 80. The School of Tibet. Tibet is one of the sites of the mystery schools. Many of the temples that are thought to be shrines for idolatry are in actuality the schools of the elders. The elders appeared where, when, and how they were needed in the world over. Long ago, those who witnessed their arrivals and departures recorded what they saw, or what they thought they saw. In Tibet, there is a 1,000-volume set of tablets called the Tablets of Kanchur. These holy texts that contain information of Lamaism, are the most complex secret code of information ever recorded. They are so complex that only 1/100th have been deciphered. These tablets make reference to deities in the skies, luminous curls and transparent spheres. This is the same type of vehicle witnessed by Ezekiel in the book of Ezekiel 1:16. Themara, appearance, sight, of the Ophon, wheels, and their mahas seh, work, was like to the Ayjn, color, of a farshish, beryl and yarbat, 4, hat ekhawd, 1, demoth, likeness and their mar'a, appearance, sight, and their mahas seh, work, was as it were a ophon, wheel, in the ta wek, middle, of a ophon, wheel. The appearance of wheels and their work was like to the eye of a beryl brilliant, and the four wheels had the likeness of one, and their appearance and their work was like a wheel within the midst of another wheel. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by drive. Malachi York. Mistranslation for King James 1611 AD. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they had oneliness, and their appearance and their work was as if it were a wheel in the middle of another wheel. Yes, this was an aircraft that Ezekiel was talking about. This ship was an aircraft made through utilizing the body forces from the chakras to break the law of gravitation, therefore, raising the self. Being done together made it a mothership, for it can be done together or individually. People have seen it and described it. Although they saw the same thing, their description was different because they may have seen it from different angles, for example, top view, front view, or bottom view. The following are some terms used to describe it. Noise of great waters, the sound of movement, engine, whirlwind, the energies in the body illuminating, radiating, and expanding in increased force, aircraft, flying saucer, ifo likeness and appearance of a throne and manned lamb, Melchizedek bright lights wheel in the middle of a wheel, the circle of the 12 disciples of Melchizedek and the circle of the 24 elders, lights moving above firmament, the amount of space taken up by the secret seat of counsel, the distance from the hull of the ship to its outer edges, 4 living creatures, the visions of prophecy of the 4 horsemen spoken of in the scroll of Revelation, wings unfolding of the rise and fall of the horse, mina fire unfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber. The lights of energies illuminating, radiating, and expanding from the elders, flames of fire and brightness. Horses are symbolically referred to as carrying the burdens of the future, which is a metaphor for the events of the future. Each of the 4 living creatures, beasts, are symbolic of the 4 major world empires that have prevailed upon the earth since the beginning to its eventual end. What Ezekiel saw were the Rizkian, elders, the secret seat of counsel, as described in Revelation 4:4, and GT, the secret seat of counsel, the mothership, the keeper of the source of all things to come. It is a high order of which Jesus is the prince, and Melchizedek is the ruler. The circle of the secret seat of counsel has schools of learning here on earth today that have existed from the beginning of time: Mu, Atlantis, Tibet, Persia, Easter Island, and Egypt. The knowledge we are presenting to you was contained in this order, the Sons of the Green Light, which is now called the Ancient Mystic Order of Melchizedek, AMOM. There are orders that try to imitate this order, such as the Masons, the Shriners, the Knights of Columbus, and other groups of order based upon secrets, grips and passwords. In fact, the Parliament of Great Britain is based upon the circle of the secret seat of counsel. The Round Table is nothing but an imitation of the circle of the elders. The Round Table is used quite often in the United Nations building conference room. The United Nations building is built like a book. This book is none other than the Holy Scriptures. The page that it is open to is Isaiah 2:4. And he will Shaphat, judge, Bain, among, between, the Goei, Gentile nations, and will Yakhahh, rebuke, Rab, many, am, nation of people, and they will Kotheth 1, beat, their Kheh Reb, swords, into Ayth, plowshares, and their Koneth, spears, into Masmerah, pruning hooks. Goei, Gentile nation, will not Nasa, lift up, Kheh Reb, sword, ale, against, Goei, Gentile nation, neither will they Lamad, learn, Milka W, battle, war, any ode, more. And Yahuwah will judge between the Gentile nations, and they will rebuke many nations of people, and they will beat by crushing their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. The Gentile nations will not lift up a sword any more against other Gentile nations, neither will they learn HDW to battle any more. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by drive. Malachi, York. Mistranslation for King James 1611 AD. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Ks. How do the Rizkians travel through space? ANS. The Rizkians have the ability to travel within many time frames and density levels, as well as in between, in and out of your very dreams. Many other entities lack this capability. They depend on a beamcraft for interstellar travel. The Rizkian crafts are called shams and are constructed in one piece that is fabricated within an energy matrix and solidified as an aware living crystal. It looks like a crown to your eyes. This is the will within a wheel of Ezekiel 10:2, 10 found in the Bible. The body can be turned into a ship by utilizing the 7 seats or chakras of the body. I will teach this to those who listen. The elders knew of things that were to happen. Thus, the message that was being spoken by Melchizedek to Ezekiel, was symbolic of when he spoke of the creatures, or beasts, and their 4 faces. In the wisdom of this message was a warning to the Israelites of those things to come. The lights from the mothership are called elders. The elders were around the throne as spoken of in Revelation 4:4. Melchizedek makes his history equal to his home circumference because the 23 scientists, along with the prophet, the 24th, who is to reign during that period, make up the 24 points along with the circumference of the earth. Melchizedek is the center or midpoint that make up the 25th person that forms the wheels. The spirit being spoken of in the book of Ezekiel is Melchizedek, the wise man of the East. Melchizedek is the one who teaches each of the prophets and is the head of the 24 elders spoken of in Revelation as the time of each new day. This is the 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 6.6 seconds per day. Therefore, the representation of the earth's circumference is broken down into 24 periods of 1,000 years, which is represented by each of the 24 elders. The four beasts. First creature, beast, lion, the white horse, the Babylonian Empire head Nimrod, son of Cush and Semiramis. First ruler Hammurabi, introduced the penal code. Second ruler Nebuchadnezzar. Second creature, beast, calf, the red horse, Greek Empire head, Alexander the Great, Macedonian by birth, but leading the Greek Empire to crush the Roman Empire. Third creature, beast, man, the black horse, the Roman Empire. Its rulers were called Caesars, after the first dictator, Julius Caesar. Fourth creature, beast, flying eagle, the pale horse, European Empire, America. Revelation 4:2-11. Hammurabi. Nebuchadnezzar. Alexander the Great. Julius Caesar. The four living creatures were the key to overstanding the devil his strategies to dominate the world. In overstanding this was the key to unlocking the spell. The four living beasts are symbolic of the four world empires that have prevailed upon the earth from beginning to the end of time. They appeared before the throne of the Most High awaiting their divine assignment. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we overstand that the worlds were framed by the word of the Most High, so that things that are seen were not made of things that do appear. The first beast was like lion. The first empire would conquer and hold control over a great part of the earth, having enormous power and a fearless nature as a lion. The second beast was like a calf. The calf is a cloven-hoofed, divided hoof, beast of burden because of existing tension and burdens within its framework. The great empire will become weak, consequently separating into two lesser kingdoms. The third beast had a face as a man. This empire would be strongly ruled by man. The intellect of this empire would be based on ruling unmodified and unaffected by spiritual law, mercy, and justice. The fourth beast was like a flying eagle. The eagle is a large, strong, flesh-eating bird of prey, noted for its acute vision and powerful wings. The fourth beast would kill humans, flesh-eating, would have mass surveillance, acute vision, of its inhabitants and other kingdoms, and would have concentrated power and military might, powerful wings. The fourth empire would rise out of an old, relishing the belief in immortality and entertaining the complex of superiority, the godlike complex. Everyone in the circle of the secret seat of council bowed down, prostrated in recognition of this, and I quote, "For by him were all things created, that are in heaven, and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, or dominions, or principalities, or powers, all things were created by him and for him." Now, I feel it is of some importance that I mention the meaning of the 12 disciples within the circle of the seat of council. As mentioned before, Jesus had 12 disciples. As Jesus had 12 disciples. The 12 disciples represent the fact that all of the prophets had 12 disciples. The 12 disciples also represent the fact that out of 124,000 prophets and 315 apostles of the Most High, 12 of them are disciples of Melchizedek. Each of them had some mystical purpose on earth and were of the order of Melchizedek. The 12 disciples of Melchizedek. 1. Adapha, Enoch, the son of Jared and Salem. As Genesis 5:24 states, and I quote, "And Enoch walked with the Elohim and he was not, for the Elohim took him." 2. Jethro taught Moses, for a period of 40 years in order to administer unto the children of Israel, and Moses also married his daughter Zipporah. 3. The third being Job son of Issachar and Adarah was a news-bearer who was tried by the Elohim. He taught man patience and endurance. 4. Solomon, the son of David and Bathsheba. He prayed for wisdom and it was given to him. 5. Isaiah son of Amoz and Jedidah, he received the word of the New Jerusalem and the Messiah. 6. Jeremiah son of Hilkiah and Nara. He was alone against all the chosen of the Most High, the Israelites after their transgression. Remember, the Ishmaelites were always the chosen people, but the Israelites were chosen to carry the law until the period of time that the Ishmaelites would be given the law to keep. 7. Ezekiel son of Buzi and Michael, he saw the elders in flight. 8. Daniel son of Jarrah and Gebar interpreted dreams. He interpreted the writing on the wall. Daniel 5:12. Modern Hebrew script. Kol Qebal, for as much as, and Yatir, excellent, Ruach. Soul, and Mandat, knowledge overstanding, and Sakleth Onoo, understanding insight, Fesh interpreting, of Kailam, dreams, and Ak'ah, showing, declaration, of Ak'ida, riddles, hard sentences, and Sheri, dissolving, of Ketar, doubts, were Shekach, found, in the same Daniel. Daniel is my judge, whom the Melech, ruler, Shum, named, Belteshazzar, Belteshazzar prince of Bel-Keachan. Now, let Daniel is my judge, be called, and he will Khawah, Shu, the Fesh interpretation. All of these were found in the same Daniel is my judge, an excellent soul, and overstanding, and insight on interpreting dreams, and declaration of riddles, and dissolving of doubts, whom the ruler Nebuchadnezzar named Belteshazzar prince of Baal. Therefore now let Daniel is my judge be called out, and he will show us the interpretation. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by Drive. Malachi Z. York. Mistranslation for King James 1611 AD. Forasmuch as an excellent spirit, and knowledge, and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will shew the interpretation. 9. Joel son of Pethuel and Jachanah. He was told of the end of the world prophecy as spoken of in the revelation of Jesus the Messiah. Joel 2:28-32. 1q. Jonah son of Amittai and Reemah. He stayed in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah 1:1-2,17. 11. Elijah was a Zadok priest after the order of Melchizedek. Elijah didn't experience a physical death, he ascended to the heavens. The spirit of Elijah incarnates into different persons to do certain jobs. 12. Ahmed Muhammad son of Abdullah and Aminah. He traveled the heavens and was initiated into the spiritual mysteries of the human soul, the secrets of life, death, heaven, and earth. As I mentioned before, Jesus is a high priest and representative of Melchizedek, the green one. All of this represents the circle of the secret seat of counsel. The secret seat of counsel is based on the science of the Kaaba, a cube-shaped building, draped in black, which houses the black stone, a piece of the black mud or carbon, used to shape Adam. The construction of the Kaaba is based on the circle and the square, the two things in existence, that is the mystery that surrounds Anu's, El's handiwork called creation. Science of the circle and the square. Anu, El, the Most High made the beginning exist by using the science of the circle and the square. He performed a feat that the scientific mind of today would term as miraculously impossible. He took the infinite and formed a circle and a square. He then took the circle, turned it inside out, and produced a state of nothingness, void and darkness. Case, how can two things be totally opposite, yet equal, and the same? Ans, only Anu, El, the Most High can make this happen. Look closer at what I have said, and you will discover the true meaning and overstating of what took place. In studying one of the sciences of figures such as the circle and the square, geometry, we learn that if quantities are equal to the same quantities or equal quantities, then they are equal to each other. Things equal to the same things are equal to each other. Or if the circle and square are both equal to 360 degrees, then they are equal to each other. Therefore, the circle equals the square. Case, if the circle and the square are equal, why are their shapes different? Ans, shapes create illusions, making objects appear other than what they actually are. These two structures appear to be different. However, when exploring the chemistry and mathematics of such shapes, you will find the answer that they are the same. Case, how did the square and the circle come about? Ans, first, Anu, El created nothing, then, Anu took the infinite and formed a circle. Infinite has no beginning, no distinct points of direction. All points are the same distance from the center to the line, circumference, to the circle, and cannot be extended in any direction extreme. Then, Anu formed the square. Finite has 4 points of direction. Points from center to perimeter are not the same distance. Lines can extend in more than one direction extreme. Then, he took the O and turned it inside out and placed it within the confines of the square, by first separating the circle into 4 parts. The 4 parts, Anu caused to merge and form. Because both the square and circle equal the same, they both have the same magnetic charge. Case, what happens when two the same, charges are put together? Ans, they push away from each other, they repel. But because of the tremendous amount of force and pressure of fusion, a force that made them act, they submit contrary to their natural act of repelling. Two distinct incomplete squares formed, and after further being subjected to the intense commandment of Anu, merged together to form one single, complete square. The center of each square and each circle became as one. If you look closely, you will see every quarter part of the circle within the square. Case, why did the Most High put this energy within the boundaries of a triangle or some other geometric figure? Ans, Anu, the Most High deals with perfection and thereby, completion, which equals 360 degrees. The triangle, whether acute obtuse, or right, equals 180 degrees, which is exactly 1/2 of 360 degrees. Therefore, it is incomplete. These and all other geometric figures originated from the circle. However, because of the stability of the square, it was the most suitable for harnessing this busy energy. Now think. If you wanted to package a set of expensive chinaware, would you place it in a box-like object, or would you use an object shaped as a circle or a triangle? Of course, the box-shaped vessel is of first preference. For this reason, the square was chosen to contain this restless energy. This energy, because of its unfamiliarity with its new environment, before it was considered free energy, tried to escape beyond the borders of the square. As a result of its effort, it pushed upward, outward, and downward, still unable to find an avenue of escape. This constant action produced tremendous heat from its friction that increased to the point that the square could no longer accommodate the energy, and a great explosion occurred. This event was created in heaven and was not part of the physical plane. Its physical manifestation was still to come. Today we know this manifestation as the Sun. Fall of the mystery schools of learning. It was many years after the ascension of Jesus of 2,000 years ago at the age of 120, that the schools were said to be the incorrect way to serve the Most High. The Christian founders recognized the schools to be one great powers opposed to their ultimate success in duping the people. Their new religion of Christianity was to be founded upon faith alone. However, we know that the Most High said to us that faith alone is not the way. Many of the secret documents of the greater mysteries were gradually absorbed by Christianity into their literal or esoteric form without any explanation of their inner meaning. This is what it is today, barely understood and misinterpreted. Christianity forbade its followers to search or seek in any way. Christianity taught them to lean fully upon the Church, or the Pope, or the preacher, for divine intercession, with the Most High. Thus, came an era of fantastic symbolism. Having glimpsed the sacred symbols of the lesser mysteries, humans' wild imaginings gave birth to weird rites, orgies, black magic, terror, and witchcraft. Masked magicians strode over the lands performing half-learned psychic arts, and medicine men whispered loudly of fabulous formulas, possessing mystical power. Vile potions, hen's book, dried toads, and magical chants were sought after. Devil worship came out of the darkness into the light. The talismans and amulets of the schools, which bore tremendous power for the true disciples, were reproduced, degraded and commercialized. Those who had earlier received the teachings of the lesser mysteries, now degenerated them into fanatical festivities and orgies that could lay no claim to the schools, for they were truly labeled ego. The schools taught the disciples to seek knowledge for themselves concerning the mysteries of life and death and the Most High. Under the tyrants Theodosius, Cyril the Archbishop of Alexandria, and Theophilus, Patriarch of Alexandria, the schools as great institutions. The most famous thing about Alexandria was the Great Library located there. This library and its learning complex was called by the Latins, museum. It was one of the schools that stored the Most High's knowledge for humans. This knowledge was possessed by the ancient kingdom of Salem, which was ruled by Melchizedek, and it far surpasses that possessed by the modern society. Here, the sciences, mathematics, technology, time calculations, and medicine flourished untampered until this great library was destroyed. The tyrants were eager to incorporate the secret writings of the school into their religion, Christianity, and the likes. The sacred writings of the schools were slowly had into the doctrine of Christianity, but any outward proof that the scriptures laid rooted in the schools were totally destroyed. Subsequently, under instructions of Theophilus, came the burning of the immense library of Alexandria. The world will never fully recover from this tragedy. Although, some of the precious scriptures and manuscripts were hidden and saved. This Library of Alexandria contained over 700,000 of the most remarkable writings, documents, scriptures, and manuscripts ever collected on the face of the earth. Even though the Great Library of Alexandria itself survived, its inner glory was utterly destroyed by the enemies of the Most High. Any writings, condemning the doctrine of Christianity were annihilated. The six-pointed SFLR is a symbol as ancient as time itself. The center of the six-pointed star symbolizes the spinal cord. The crescent symbolizes the crown and its divine contents, for within the brain is the radiant kingdom of the Most High within man. The six-pointed star had also been utilized by the elders who walked with N in Genesis chapter 6, in the days of Mu. The elders were the teachers who formed the first mystery schools of learning to teach the children of earth. Before I go into this section, Seat of Light, mistakenly called Kundalini, it is important that I stress, if you should raise your lights for the wrong reasons and the light should descend instead, you will be opening yourself to becoming susceptible and a part of the animalistic, perverted nature of lower man, or maybe even a vegetable. Please be careful. The nervous system is the communications and control network of the body. Through electrochemical impulses it senses, sorts, stores and uses messages that control your bodily functions and processes. It is also responsible for thought, strategy, and decision-making. The nervous system is composed of an enormous network of nerve fibers and cells that reaches every part of the body. 1. Sympathetic nervous system. A. It is feminine negative in polarity. B. It is a series of fibers connected together as two cords or threads extending from the skull near the opening of the two nostrils to the base of the spine. C. The sympathetic fibers form a connected chain that runs parallel to the spinal cord, but lies outside the bone. The sympathetic system is the same in each human, and is the difference of a man being an active human being or a man being a vegetable. It is human's movement. 2. Cerebrospinal nervous system. A. It is masculine positive in polarity. B. It consists of the brain and the spinal cord, which together make up the central nervous system, CNS. It receives the information from all parts of the body via incoming sensory nerves, then sorts out this information, and finally, it sends the proper information of the body requiring adjustments. In the cerebrospinal system, lies the difference between personalities. It is man's will. Its major control are the 7 senses, seeing, touch, hearing, intuition, psychometry, clairvoyance, telepathy. 2 main components of the brain are the cerebrum and the cerebellum. The cerebrum is the upper brain and lies like a skull cap over the entire head. This is why Muslims must keep their heads covered. It is connected with the pituitary or feminine gland. The pituitary or feminine gland. The pituitary is queen of the inner kingdom. It represents the third eye. The cerebrospinal system is represented by the mystic symbol, the 6-pointed star and crescent. The 6-pointed star is a symbol as ancient as time itself, having been utilized by the elders who walked with men in Genesis chapter 6, in the days of learning to teach the children of earth. The center of the 6-pointed star symbolized the spinal cord. The crescent symbolized the crown and its divine contents, for lying within the brains is the radiant kingdom of Anu within man. The sustainer of this realm is the pineal gland, the Lamb, and he is surrounded by his 12 disciples, or the 12 convolutions of the brain, or the 12 spiritual centers in the brain that relate to the 12 major pairs of cranial nerves which pass from under the surface of the brain, through the openings of the cranius to reach the organs in human's body. At present, there are normally only a few of these 12 spiritual centered opened or active, affecting humans' daily life. As man progresses spiritually, tiny valves leading up the spinal column open one by one. Eventually, he spiritualizes the last 3 pairs of nerves, which in turn, open the 12 spiritual centers of force in the brain and flood the physical form with spiritual power and awareness, changing him from man to son of Anu. The 12 cranial nerves have a counterpart, 12 positive, and 12 negative, which gives a total of 24. This coincides with the 24 elders that sat on the throne. Through the outgoing motor nerves. You are only being told about the 31 spinal nerves, not including the last 2. Some call it the Kundalini or sleeping serpent. This symbol came from the ancient Sumerian symbol for alchemy. By raising the seat of light, Kundalini, through the 33 spinal nerves and the relating seats, and unfolding the third eye through the 12 cranial nerves and the relating seats, one attains wisdom and spiritual powers. These valves are related to the 33 spinal nerves, also the 33 degrees in masonry, and symbolic of Jacob's ladder. Refer to Genesis 28:12. The third eye. The great eye, the all-seeing eye. The single eye. In the beginning, man, not mankind, was full of insight, and exercised a spiritual light that poured out from between his eyes, an area that the elders called the third eye. It is well known by the spiritual healers of old and by teachers and disciples from the mystery schools of learning. This light was called by many other names such as a strain for visual power, a virtue, a vital energy, an invisible antenna, a force from the soul, a vapor of cosmic energy. The Aquarian Age is a period of time of the end when the unknown begins to assume its true place in life with its owners. Abu Hurairah said, "The Apostle of Allah said, the word wisdom is the lost property of the believer, so wherever he finds it he has a better right to it." Hadith. The Aquarian Age is when the natural resources for man's inner qualities and abilities, not commonly known, will rise to their full capacity, and the source is the third eye. The third eye is symbolized in many things. The third eye is found as a symbol in paintings, statues, and other art forms. Egyptian priests and kings wore it, being symbolized by the raised serpent on their foreheads. It was symbolic of the third eye being opened. The serpent was a mistakable representation for the seat of light through which the third eye is the source. You may have heard the symbol of the serpent called the kundalini. Kund means to burn, kunda means a coil or spiral. It is a Sanskrit word. Sanskrit was the language of the 200 fallen angels who came to earth after being cast out of Malakut, realm of the Elohim. Referred to are their black devils. Scroll number 1. In India, the seers and sages were called the Nagas, meaning the wise serpents. By raising the seat of light, kundalini, through the 33 spinal nerves and the relating seats, and unfolding the third eye through the 12 cranial nerves and the relating seats, one attains wisdom and spiritual powers. The third eye is also represented on the back of the $1 bih with the pyramid, the source of mysteries. Refer to Leviathan 666, The Spell of King, Parts 1 and 2, Scroll number 15. In ancient Egypt the serpent was called Wajet or Ajet, the eye of the moon, which Set, brother of Osiris, stole from Horus, which was later given back to him by Thoth. The all-seeing eye has been a symbol of deities. The eye was incandescent of the sun, moon, stars, and comets. The all-seeing eye is a symbol of the Supreme Being, the omnipresent deity. Even Nimrod, son of Cush and Semiramis, wanted to be Osiris, Yuzur. The word I is made to sound like the first person singular, I meaning myself, me, myself, and I, refer to Matthew 6:22. Matthew 6:22. The light of the body is the eye, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Set, brother of Osiris, and Horus had engaged in a terrible fight over the death of Osiris, Horus one father, who was cut up into 14 pieces by Set. Set wanted to take the place of his brother Osiris and his wife, Isis, on the throne in ancient Egypt, and thus, he killed Osiris. During the time that Osiris was murdered, his son Horus was too young to avenge his father's death, so Hophaes waited until he was old enough to retaliate. The armies of Set and Horus fought a bitter and bloody battle in the fields of Edfu, which Horus won because many of Set's warriors who were still faithful to Isis and Osiris broke from their ranks and swatted Horus to defeat Set. Set was then driven out of that part of Egypt and unto the eastern borders. This is where Set sought to make a stand at Zeru. Horus and Set's forces fought again, only this time Set and Horus physically fought each other. This fight lasted for many days. When it was over, once again Horus won, but this time he lost an eye to the hand of Set. In ancient Egypt, Horus is represented as a falcon or the falcon-headed man, in which his eyes symbolized the sun and the moon. The phrase the eye of Horus, which is also called the Ajat, is referring to his right eye, the sun, which is the eye on the dollar bill above the pyramid. It was his right eye that was lost in a terrible battle between him and Set. The open eye is symbol of watchfulness. Psalms 34:15, Psalm 121:4 and Proverbs 15:3. The closed eye is a symbol of sleep and the open eye is awake. Other symbols of the eye of Horus were, the winged sun disk used to adorn doorways in ancient Egyptian temples, which was another symbol of Horus, the sun god. The third eye is also the medicine symbol used by physicians. The medical symbol was a combination of the cobra intertwined around a staff and became the medical symbol called the caduceus. The symbol of abbreviation for medicine prescriptions is Rx, which is symbolic of the left eye of Horus. This symbol was first introduced by the Roman physician Galen, 130 to 200 AD. Who used this sign when writing prescriptions for his patients. Galen first used the symbol in the 2nd century. The Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS, and Home Box Office, HBO, also use modified version of the Eye of Horus as their logo. The Eye of Horus is called the Falcon Eye of Horus, son of Osiris and Isis. According to the Egyptian myth, the falcon god Horus attacked his uncle to avenge his father's murder. In the ensuing fight, Horus' one eye was injured and his eye miraculously evolved into the sign we use today for prescription, the Rx symbol. The Native Americans recognized the aware ability of human and symbolized the third eye in the headband. The headdress was symbolic of the aura of man. The headdress was worn especially during religious ceremonies. The Buddhists recognized the third eye by placing a jewel in the center of the forehead. In Hindu it is called the Eye of Shiva. It was the center point through which the attributes of Shiva were expressed. Shiva is the deity of both construction and destruction. The third eye was the focal point through which the forces for destruction and construction were individualized. You may have seen the 1,000-petaled lotus used in many art forms. The Hindus selected the 1,000-petaled lotus to represent the highest inner development humans could attain. The lotus unfolds with the coming of dawn or light, just as man's consciousness unfolds. The Eye of Horus, used in Egyptian ceremonies and worn as a talisman, represented the power of the son of Osiris. The symbol was believed to possess the power to ward off all evil. The eye represented the sun and Osiris himself, as the supreme deity. The third eye is accepted by Enfani people as a symbol of deity. Long ago, even though the third eye was considered human spiritual eye, it could see on the physical plane. It was capable of extending vision to distant points. It could see the various planes of life from physical to spiritual, and it was a transmitter of thought as well as sight. When the third eye is used, the physical viewpoint is not used, but the spiritual viewpoint island. The whole body becomes filled with light. The whole body means the physical body and the etheric body. In order for this to be done, the activity in the seat has to be developed. The development is through meditation, breathing exercises, spiritual deeds and sincere spiritual teachings. The brow and the crown. There are two glands that are important to opening the third eye. 1. The pituitary gland, which is negative and feminine. It is associated with the spiritual and psychic center, the brow seat. And 2. The pineal gland, which is positive and masculine. It is associated with the crown seat. First we will discuss the pineal gland. This word is from the word pinea, which refers to the pine cone, because it has a pine cone shape, and it is the size of a pea. It is said that the pineal gland resembles the embryonic optic nerve. Extending out from the pineal gland is a tiny hair-like projection vibrating at tremendous speed. When the projection vibrates at a higher speed, it vibrates at a frequency that is common to one of the planes. The plane whose frequency the vibration is common with is the plane the person becomes in tune with. Before puberty, the pineal gland has spiritual functions, being the center from which radiates the mental and spiritual powers of the soul. During the first 7 years, children live by impulse, intuition, and instinct. At this time, the third eye is predominantly opened and the oversoul, etheric body, sends its messages through quite easily. The pineal gland at the age of 7 years tends to partially degenerate, not performing what it did for the first 7 years of growth. A child is said to be shaped at the age of 7. His personality is already formed. He becomes physical. His third eye usually becomes closed because of parental indoctrination. The pineal gland physically decreases until the age of puberty, usually at age 13, when the pituitary gland assumes the function of the pineal gland. Functions of the third eye. 1. All messages received by the physical senses, 7 of them, must be sent to the oversoul, etheric body. This is done through the third eye. 2. All messages received by the spiritual senses can only be sent to the physical consciousness by the third eye. 3. The third eye sends messages of knowledge from one level of the mind to another. The 3 levels are: A. Normal level. B. Subconscious level. C. Superconscious level. Your mind has a numerous amount of memory vaults used for storage of the many experiences you have encountered. Although your normal level of consciousness does not possess access to this knowledge, at various times, it receives intuition or instinct from the oversouled, etheric body, which does have access to this knowledge. This is the reason you may have stated, "I have been here before," or "I remember this incident," or "I have done this before." The mind levels interlock with each other. One form of message sending is intuition. If the third eye is not sufficiently opened, or it is disturbed by emotional stresses, messages between mind levels may be hindered, delayed, or sometimes completely interrupted. 4. The third eye serves as an area for perceiving planes of life other than the physical plane. Remember, there are 7 planes. 5. When a person speaks to you, your auditory or hearing system registers the sound of voice, which you relate to as words, and place a meaning to it. However, the meaning that a speaker intends to attach by a certain word may not be all the same as the thought you attached to the word. The third eye, through inner sensitivity, receives the sound of the speaker's voice, but also the thought, impulses or impressions projecting mentally and emotionally. Thus, you know the exact meaning being communication to you. 6. With the eyes you see the physical objects, and that is all. With the third eye properly polarized and receptible to the aura or an object, it becomes possible to receive much additional information. You may be able to perceive something or the persons who have been involved with it, or you may sense something of its past history, or the history of persons who have been associated with it. Opening of the third eye. Before I tell you some things to help open your third eye, you must learn this: polarity, the fact that there is present or a manifestation of 2 opposites or contrasting principles or tendencies in the body, the positive/masculine and the negative/feminine. As you know, like charges repel and unlike charges attract. The magnetic field of a human is part of Earth's magnetic field, of which it is a part, and in which it moves independently. These fields are composed of positive and negative vibratory energies, or forces. These 2 forces are respectively called centripetal and centrifugal. Thus, the effect is centripetal, pulling; centrifugal, pushing. A centripetal force comes towards the Earth from the universe, and a centrifugal force comes out from the center of the Earth. In ancient times, centripetal and centrifugal were called the forces of heaven and earth. They directly affect the construction of the male and female bodies. A man's sexual organs appear externally and downward and are related with the centripetal force, which relates to heaven. The force comes through the top of man's head, crown seat. This is related to the 12 loves. In order to produce the higher part of man's structure, the sperm, life germ, must pass up the spinal column to the medulla oblongata, conductor of impulses between the spinal cord and the brain, to the 12 cranial nerves, the 12 occult nerves, where it is then charged with the light that comes from the crown seat to the brow seat, third eye, to the 12 cranial nerves. After the sperm is charged with light, it again goes down the spinal column to the tubes, located between the prostrate glands, to the urethra, which goes through the penis, and gushes forth as mentioned in Quran 86:6-7. If this gushing forth is conceived, a total person is produced. Without receiving the electrical impulses obtained from the light, a person would be short of his mentality. Man has 7 seats. The heart seat is between the seats, it is the division of the lower part of man and the higher part of man. The heart seat emits a light that is pinkish in color because it is in tune with the white light of the 12 cranial nerves, the 12 occult nerves, and it meets with the red light of the lower part of man, cardinal part. They blend to produce the 12 beams of light, which are the 12 forms of love. The 12 forms of love are: 1. Love of oneself, the most deadly. 2. Love of wealth. 3. Love of fame. 4. Love of success. 5. Love of mate, husband or wife. 6. Love of child. 7. Love of parents. 8. Love of brothers and sisters. 9. Love of one's word, tongue. 10. Love of life. 11. Love of prophets. 12. Love of the Most High. 10. This is the totality of all creation, mathematics, and the personification of the physical body and its ability to function on earth. The heart seat deals with the thymus gland that involves the sexual growth and maturity once you reach the age of puberty. It dissolves in the heart seat. It dissolves because you are now exercising both of these glands, the higher, which executes the decision of love, and the lower, which is the application necessary for reproduction, the procreation of life. It is at this point that the thymus gland disappears and the person becomes either male or female, and the 12 lights are seen at this point. The decision of hate, which is the counterpart or love, is there at this point. Now in the case of women, the centrifugal force affects the body by the sexual organ. It is a pulling force and is shown by the effects of her body with the stages of the moon. As a rule, every 29½ days during the life of woman, she is to menstruate or have a flow of blood from the womb. The moon completes its cycle every 29½ days by circling the earth, which is on a 23-degree axis. Woman's menstrual cycle follows that of the moon, if she is in tune with nature, the physical. Women are supposed to menstruate on one of the phases of the moon, namely, new moon, first quarter, full moon, or last quarter. The moon changes according to seasons, so does menstruation. Women's cycle changes 4 times a year: winter, fall, summer, and spring. The moon is a non-luminous revolving body that receives its light from the sunday. In summer the sun shines strongly, which causes the menses to flow heavier. Likewise, in the winter time the menstrual flow may be less because of the sun shining weaker. This whole menstrual process is interrupted upon conceiving, which results in 9 months of pregnancy. The centripetal and centrifugal force is one of the concepts of yang and yin. In some there is an abundance of negative charges, while in others there is an abundance of positive charges. Though the difference in some instances is slight, there is always an abundance of one or the other. Case: what is the difference between positive and negative polarization of the third eye? ANS, the third eye forms a smaller magnetic field contained within the greater magnetic field of the individual. It is either positive or negative in polarization. It must be one or the other in order to fulfill the function needed of it at any given moment. In most people, it is quite positive and forcefully active. Being positive, it radiates and projects its vibrating energies outward. This makes it a sending rather than receiving mechanism. it sends to the oversoul etheric body. Through the third eye, the results of all experiences, thoughts, and emotions experienced by the normal level of consciousness. However, such positive polarity usually prevents it from impressing thoughts or ideas of an intuitive nature upon the normal level of consciousness. In other words, it prevents the body, physical, from receiving messages. The positively polarized third eye pushes messages away, going against the oversoul, etheric body, to the normal level of consciousness. The physical body are hindered, interrupted, and disconnected. Therefore, you have to polarize the third eye. 1. Become relaxed completely, pushing away from your mind all concern with immediate surroundings and problems. 2. Direct attention inward and upward toward the third eye as jug a sphere of light surrounds your entire head, the light is green. 3. Without mental strain, center your consciousness upon the idea that you are creating, until the flow of thoughts open the mind-level messages. 4. At the same time attempt to sense or feel the state of receiving that you are creating, until the flow of thoughts open the mind level to receive messages. Do not do this for long periods of time, for it would be of envy. And never go to the extreme and keep the third eye in a negative polarity, receiving messages. Exercises in opening of the third eye. 1. To become more receptive to the intuitive impulses coming from the oversoul, etheric body, attempt to create a sending and receiving field in TFB third eye area. Draw the current toward you. This is meditation. The message of the oversoul will travel easily and quickly since everything would be flowing in the same direction. Reversing the polarity from positive to negative is accomplished without conscious effort. The flow is so subtle in nature that it responds almost immediately to any direction of the will. This explains why the flow is predominantly outward or positive, because the positive thought is usually the type expressed. 2. Chant O He, who is, O He, who is, O He whom no one knows what himself is. Save himself. Relax chanting slowly, direct attention to the third eye area. The combination of the vibratory stimulations created by the voice or chanting with that of your thought, serves to activate the third eye. 3. For this exercise your emotions must be pure and under control. Concentrate on the pineal seat and the pituitary seat. Bring the seat of light up. Caution, it is wrong to focus attention upon the root seat at the base of the spine and mentally force the seat light up. This can cause the light to descend. 4. Visualize a sphere of light some 2 or 3 feet before you. Then, mentally, with your will, bring the light towards you. This mental activity creates the sense of inflow and receiving. Draw the light closer and closer until finally your entire head is encircled with light. This type of mental exercise causes expansion of the mind and opening of the third eye. This type of development is not accomplished in one sitting or overnight, it is gradual. Case, how do you know when your third eye is opening? ANS, you start realizing and accepting the things for what they are as being from the Most High. The Science of Healing. We have finally come to the chapter of the book in which I have entitled this book The Science of Healing. I have previously discussed Melchizedek. It was his marvelous healing works that caused his exaltation in ancient times. He was and is master of a healing science that is little understood today. The green light of artificial intelligence Kidra, Melchizedek, releases a healing force by the power of the mind, focused with full intensity in the inner body and on the acceleration and direction of the inner forces of the body. Melchizedek was appointed by Anu, who is also known as Allah, as a medium and a guardian over all the earth, and as a source of healing for human The presence stimulated by a visual thought force with tremendous life energy within and surrounding the physical body. The body is made of 7 degrees of substance. These 7 substances vary in density and vibration. You only know of 3 of these substances: solids, liquids, and gases. However, there is a shadowy form that is called the etheric body that is an exact duplicate of the physical body, but made of 4 higher substances: first ether, electric ether, second ether, life ether, third ether, light ether, and fourth ether, mental reflection. 4 ethers of physical region. 7. Fourth ether, mental reflection. 6. Third ether, light ether. 5. Second ether, life ether. 4. First ether, electric ether. Dense physical or chemical region. 3. Gases 2. Liquids 1. Solids. The etheric body, or the part of you that is composed of ethers, is called the body of life or body of vitality, without which the denser part of you would not be able to live. When I say body, I do not mean another body apart from yourself, or another form expressing an individual intellect or personality. I merely mean another shadowy stage of yourself, as stated previously. The etheric body and the etheric senses are attached to your physical body by a very thin etheric cord. Through this etheric cord, you receive what your spiritual senses detect. The etheric body is the body of life force, of vitality, and of energy. Without it, the physical body is in darkness, without life and light. The etheric body is the part of a human that keeps in contact with the spiritual realm. The etheric body can exist without the physical body, but the physical body cannot exist without the etheric body. The etheric body is the body that digests the activities of the 7 seats or 7 spiritual senses. The etheric body draws in the energies through seats, which sends the energies through the glands of the physical body. Case, when your body becomes 3, what has happened? ANS, the physical body and the etheric body have somewhat become disconnected. The physical body is cut off from its source of life force. When your inner light becomes dim, your body starts filling with darkness. The body starves and the cells starve for life. Humans were gifted with the ability to heal under proper guidance, which was studied under the elders. The same healing abilities the prophets had, and the same healing abilities Jesus had and taught to his disciples, not only the 12 disciples, but others also, are the same abilities that human has. All human had to do was follow the right path. The healing ability was instilled in all human from our conscious to our subconscious, physical to spiritual, cranial and spinal nerves to the seat of light, chakras. The secret was to understand how to direct the green light of Al-Qadr, Melchizedek, to release tensions within and to stimulate its vibration to bring all the cells of the physical form into harmony, one with the others. Without the green light it is also the same. Without the Most High nothing would be. The green light acts like a magnet. Stimulated within the body, it attracts from the magnetic force field surrounding the body, the ether particles of green light, which are waiting to be drawn into the body by the seats. Every molecule in the body, and every atom that makes the cells of the body, is built around a magnetic center of positive and negative, held together by the light, green light, that connects all to the bosom of Ami. The small light of the cell, or atom is what holds it together, and keeps it from wandering off on its own. The atom, the molecule, the cell, the electromagnetic force field, positive and negative, the centripetal and centrifugal forces, the light, all are the basics of the solar system of the universe. Things we must realize. 1. This earth is just a resting place and the heavens a firm foundation. 2. All things of the material, physical, world are just fair-seeming illusions. 3. We have power dormant in us. 4. Until we free ourselves from the petty things in our personal life, we will remain bound to this physical realm. 5. We do not easily comprehend the spiritual worlds or the life of those worlds, because they exist in different dimensions from those that we have perception. Therefore, the logic that we may apply here in this material, physical, world, doesn't necessarily mean that it can be made applicable in the higher realms. When human's desires had outgrown his purity and the elders looked down into the earth and Ami saw fit to send down the elders from the circle of bring human back to his position as ruler on earth, what would have happened if it were possible for people to destroy themselves? All the planets would be drawn back up into the sun, which would be the results of star holocaust because of the magnetic force that keeps this universe in fit form. Where did the elders come from? The elders came from a period of 76 trillion years ago, which is our cream in history, in which time we were living air pockets in the form of gases. In the process of creating the universe in which we reside, we created 10 air pockets in space and beyond called spheres, which gave each planet a radius to properly rotate around the Sunday. We created the positive masculine and negative feminine polarity presently known as centrifugal and centripetal forces that locked each sphere into a set law known today as the solar system, in which energy nor matter cannot be destroyed. 7 steps to healing. There are 7 steps to healing. 1. Food. 2. Water. 3. Drawing in and directing the green light, healing force, which harmonizes the chakras. 4. Training the subconscious mind level by visualizing perfection. 5. Transforming the physical body through prayer and chanting. 6. Trust in one's teacher and self. 7. Faith in the Most High. 4. Food. It is no secret that food is necessary for good health. Food helps to build resistance against diseases of different sorts. We can go without eating for several days, from 10 to 50. Food is used for energy and used to prevent deficiency diseases. Cheese and dairy products. Fish and eggs. Vegetables. Meat and poultry. Bread and cereals. Water. It is necessary for the body to be provided with water, since a major part of the body is made of fluid. Water is a solvent, having the power to dissolve. It is important for dissolving foods and waste in the body. 2/3 of the body's weight is made up of water. Water helps regulate the body temperature with perspiration when the body becomes too warm, and it helps release waste through the skin. All of the body cells are made up of a large amount of water, and the body must be bathed in water in order for the cells to carry on their activities. 70 to 95% of water makes up the protoplasm, a translucent, colorless, semi-fluid, complex substance that is the physical basis of life, the living matter of all cells and tissues. The elements absorbed into the body from food and liquids create a negative polarity force. The food and water are made up of solids, liquids, and gases of the material plane. The food and water are absorbed into the bloodstream and pumped through the system by the heart. The food and water, liquid, replaces and revitalizes damaged cells and tissues, while the body sleeps. It works through the subconscious mind level by the sympathetic nervous system. It supplies the blood cells within the bone marrow. It helps keep in order the pulse beat of the heart and helps to keep on the process of breathing. By the negative polarity forces that are breathed in, the breath of life, through the lungs, there is equalizing of the flow of the positive-negative streams of life force throughout the body. This has a calming effect upon the nervous system. The nerve fluid becomes tranquil, steady, etheric currents of balanced power. This is a result that occurs through the indra-wing and directing of the green light, which harmonizes the seats. Drawing in and directing the green light, healing force, which harmonizes the chakras. I have already said that the etheric body, oversoul, is made of 4 higher substances: first ether, electric ether, second ether, life ether, third ether, light ether, fourth ether, mental reflection. I have also stated that illnesses are the results of the etheric body being disconnected from the physical body. An illness may be due to a lack of an ether substance. The elders referred to the healing ether as nafs, also known as prana. The elders describes nafs as follows. The entire universe, from spirit to human, is the product of one substance. It is the primary and basic substance out of which the earth and the heavens are made. All are composed of the same substance, with this difference: in one field of expression, its manifestations are subtle and invisible, in the other they are gross and visible. Subtle and invisible soul, gross and visible body. Without the activity of nafs upon ruh, the physical body remains in a state of darkness. Humans are constantly projecting his life forces outward. Once he is able to open his third eye and bring the green light, healing force, into the body, this positive negative life force will flow throughout the body, recharging every cell, removing illness from the body. Visualize a channel of green light, from Ami to Melchizedek, flowing downward through the crown seat and into the physical body. Concentrate on the green light overcoming and sending downward any undesirable elements in the physical body. Imagine the disease within the body being swept into the flow of light, and carried out of the body through the feet. The feet are not touching, so that the particles may flow out and away from the body. It is not good to sit in a lotus position because your feet touch your body, making the particles flow back into the body. The green light sweeps the diseased particles out of the body. Next, lock the flow of green light by crossing the feet so that the green light remains within your own force field. The diseased particles should have been flushed from the body by this time. After you have crossed your feet, locking in the green light, breathe the name of Allah, evenly and slowly. Again, visualize the green light, healing force, pouring into the body through the crown seed. As the green light flows in, visualize a halo of green light consecutively surrounding each seat, beginning with the crown seat, at the top of the head. The green light then goes to the next seat, surrounds that set with a halo and continues on downward. You should end picturing the channel of green light with each seat surrounded with a halo from head to toe. Believe firmly in the fact that the green light that you are drawing into your body is flowing from the Most High El Elyon El to Melchizedek, filling those auras and entering each and every cell of your body to restore it to sound health. After you have completed your breathing process, quietly sit visualizing the crown seat vibrantly throwing our sparks of light, like a sparkler. The sparkler shoots upward and out. This continues until the aura of the whole physical body is sparkling, brighter and brighter. Jastifa. By now, you should feel peace and harmony within each cell of the body *, for they should and would have been renewed. Sit quietly visualizing each seed having an aura. The aura of the whole physical body is sparkling. This is what you make happen in the inner you. Energy follows thought, an active law in the science of healing. Sit quietly in Jalsa, the sitting position, palms up, fingers are not touching, nor are the feet touching. Lock the green light, healing force, within the body by crossing the feet, turning palms down, and closing fingers. Every time that you touch something or someone, an etheric thread or cord is established between your hand and the person touched. If the connection is a casual one, and the mind is not connecting on the contact with that person, the etheric thread disappears. But, if the mind concentrates on the contact, etheric power flows along the thread. Every time a thought is directed along the etheric thread, the energy that follows that thought increases the power of the contact between two people. The etheric thread becomes an etheric telepathic wire of energy. This is important in the science of healing. Secondary breathing. Breathing, which seems so commonplace, is controlled by a cycle of electromagnetic impulses that pass down from the medulla oblongata to the solar plexus region, or area of the navel chakra. What happens is that the light is received from the crown seat to the third eye. From the third eye the light travels to the medulla oblongata and rises from the sides of the medulla oblongata to spread into the cranial nerves. Within the 12 cranial nerves is found the vagus nerve, which consists of motor fibers that send nervous energy to the pharynx, larynx, the tube or cavity with its surrounding membrane and muscle that connects the mouth and nasal passages with the esophagus. Voice box muscular and cartilaginous structure lined with mucous membrane at the upper part of the trachea, the tube extending from the larynx to the bronchi, serving as the principal passage for conveying air to and from the lungs windpipe. Heart, blood pump, thoracic viscera, the chest cavity organs, lungs, etc. Abdominal viscera, the abdominal cavity organs, the intestines, etc. At certain times, it is not unusual to find that your regular breathing is temporarily suspended as a different type of breathing takes over. Do not be alarmed. This happens automatically at times, without the slightest effort from the individual. It is a spiritual breathing that many people have practiced. It is a natural and regular breathing process in which you feel no lack of oxygen or any necessity to suddenly take a deep breath. This type of breathing has been spoken of many times and used many times. All of this is accomplished through the vagus nerve system. The vagus nerve system connects the heart and the head. It is through the channel of this nerve that the soul withdraws at the time of death. The vagus nerve system is a fragment of the etheric cord that is attached to the physical body and links it to the etheric body, oversoul, and the mental. Train the subconscious mind level by visualizing perfection. This sparks or itself, for as human continues on in the last days, the Aquarian age, with all that is there to tempt him, the disciple must be disciplined through his faith and through his works and sacrifices. This is acquired through patience, a virtue, a moral excellence, a beauty of holiness, a spirituality. A polytheist lacks the understanding that 99% of his body is obedient to his Creator. It is the 1% that makes him rebel to the divine law of his Creator. That 1% that makes him rebel is comparable to a penny of $1. It is just as important as the 99 cents if $1 is what is needed. Does mankind think that he will ever overstand the spiritual if he does not overstand the physical? If through time mankind has dropped in degrees coming from up to down, then in order for mankind to gain his degrees, he must work his way from down to up, physical to spiritual. Indeed, he needs the intellect, the pen, and the light, those things that were in the beginning. If Earth is a school of life, and the goal of mankind is to become perfect, there must be someone who had graduated with the equivalent of a master's degree. Then the purpose of that someone with a master's degree would be to help guide the people and give them intellect, the ability to decide wisely and overstanding. This someone is called a sheikh. This is not the so-called sheikh that you know today as a venerable old man over the age of 50, worthy of deep respect. This sheikh is of a group of the higher part of the heavenly realm, serving many spiritual purposes. The group is individually called, the ancient, the sheikhs, the masters, the Nephilians or the elders. The group as a whole is called, the secret seat of council. Over them preside Melchizedek. In reference to the science of healing, all of them engaged in the healing art. Melchizedek radiates the green light. To the elders, healing the body was divine activity that had a considerable degree of attention. Someone who lived by the spiritual practices and discipline was able to obtain this ability. The elders believed that the sick body could be filled with divine power, the light, so as to cast out illness and disease. In short, it was making a holy place uninhabitable by unworthy things by creating an atmosphere in which they could not remain. The elders believed that the sick body could be cured by the plant. For every illness of human, there exists an herb, a root, a leaf, or a bark, to heal that illness. Ezekiel 47:12. Modem Hebrew script. The Nakhl, river, upon the Safa, bank, thereof, on this side and on that side. Shall Allah, grow, ascend, all eights, trees, for Mahakal, meat, food, whose Allah, leaf, shall not navail, fade, neither shall theperi, fruit, thereof be tamam, consumed, complete it shall bring forth bawkar, new fruit, firstborn, according to his kodesh, months, new moon, because their mahim, waters, they yatsaw, issued, came forth out, of the mikdash, sanctuary and the furi, fruit, thereof shall be for Mahakal, meat, food, and the Allah, leaf. Thereof for Turoofa, medicine, healing. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, will ascend all trees for food whose leaf will not fade neither will the fruit thereof be consumed, it will bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they brought forth out of the holy place, and the fruit thereof will be for food and the leaf thereof for healing. Right translation La Rami, Hebrew, by Drive. Malachi York. Mistranslation for King James 1611 AD. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed, it shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. Thus, a spiritual healing, the green light, and a physical healing, herbs. As above, so below. So let us remember that there is an angelic mission, as well as a mission here on the earth. I call it the spiritual mission. Their light overshadows those of us who serve in the mission on earth. How did I find this out? I found out through this experience I now share with you. I planned a deliberate retreat from the world to prepare myself to face the responsibility of elevating, which was not yet born to me on the earth's plane. I meditated, studied, planned, and prayed, attempting to receive intuitional guidance from Melchizedek. It was my prayers that would make me worthy of the elders presenting themselves to me. Finally, one night, I became aware of a majestic being. My inspirational impression indicated that he was concerned with healing work. In my meditation, I was impressed with his name, Melchizedek. This meant a great deal to me. I immediately identified him as the guardian of the earth. I was then impressed with the meaning of his name, Angel of Justice. I made an effort to draw closer to him, so I might experience his healing powers by invoking his name. To my surprise, I found this healing power did not come directly from the Green One to me, but through Zoser, who is of standing amongst the elders. I became aware that Zoser was high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek generates a green light over the 24 elders. The 24 elders hold position in the secret seat of council. I then applied that which was above me, the secret seat of council, to that which was below.